Ruslan.
Dave Chappelle, one of my favorite comedians, went on to the Joe Rogan podcast and they had a 3-hour conversation. It's one of the few Joe Rogan episodes I watched all the way through. I wanted to highlight one clip, maybe 2 clips from this conversation that stood out to me and I think have some practical value for a lot of us who are watching this. So this is going to be at the 45-minute mark. Now, just a heads up, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this has some profanity in it, but
hide your kids, hide your wife.
Explicit, explicit,
Explicit.
you've been warned, friend. All right, let's jump into this interview. They're going to be talking about something that a lot of folks don't consider when they're pursuing creative work, business work, taking risk. Joe talking about how he got into the UFC and doing commentating, and then Dave makes a really interesting point. So check this out.
We started talking about commentary, and then he talked me into doing one. I did like the first 15 of them. I did for free. I did it for a while, like more than a year, like maybe 2 years. I did it for no money. I just got free tickets. He just flew me out.
So he talks about initially when he got into doing UFC commentating, he just did it for free. He did it for no money.
It's that, bro. You know, these paths in life, they reveal themselves. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier. If you look at things through the lens of money or monetary gain, you'll miss so much.
You miss so much.
This thing about just following a passion, having a good dinner with somebody, yeah, I'll do it.
How do you get to this place where you can follow a passion, when you can take on passion projects, right? Just let's just keep listening.
That's usually how the greatest things happen. When I did Star is Born, I don't do movies. I'm so glad I did it. And it was just because I liked Bradley Cooper. I kept meeting him at parties.
That's awesome.
And I just like the guy.
No, yeah, that's being able to just do what you
He did a movie just because he liked the guy. It's interesting, right?
enjoy doing. That's the real success of life. Like when I was doing Fear Factor, I didn't enjoy the job. I enjoyed the people I was working with. It was fun. They were a good group of people. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. But it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was doing it for money.
Right.
And but it gave me, the good thing was it gave me few money. So it gave me money where I had money squirreled away. I was like, ooh, I can relax now. Now I just do what I want to do. And what I wanted to do was like do this stupid podcast and then, you know, do these MMA shows, go and do commentary. And I did all that. Again, it was all just because I enjoyed it. And then that became my life. My life became only things I enjoy. So now, whether it's podcast or whether it's stand-up or whether it's commentary, it's just I enjoy it. I look forward to it.
There's a lot there. So Joe Rogan used to host Fear Factor, and he said, I didn't enjoy doing Fear Factor. I enjoyed the people I did it with. But what it allowed me to do was to have some money squirreled away so then I can go do the things I really wanted to do, like this podcast, UFC commentating, all the other stuff he did, stand-up comedy. What's the big idea here? Doing the things you need to do so later you can do the things you want to do. The world is going to tell you, do what you love, follow your passions, follow your heart. But a lot of times your passions and your heart and your vision isn't always going to be the thing that puts food on the table, isn't always going to be the thing that takes care of your bills, provides shelter and clothes for you and your family. So sometimes following your passions can be overrated. And so Joe Rogan's passion wasn't hosting Fear Factor. His passion was UFC, stand-up, and doing this podcast that he later on to do. But instead of just doing what you love, he learned to love what he did, which then enabled him to do what he loves. He did something like Fear Factor for a season of his life that allowed him to squirrel away some money, which I think is brilliant phrasing of that, right? Just tuck away some money. And then he was able to launch all of these ventures. And he talks about his podcast not being profitable for a long time in this interview. It took a while to catch some steam for that, but he just kept doing it. He just enjoyed doing it. Why? Because he had margin built into his life. He had some buffer built into his life. He had what he calls FU money or squirrel money built in to allow him to do the things that he wanted to do. So many times we want to take the most direct path to success. We would say, oh, I want to be an artist, or I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to start a business. And we just go to the most direct path instead of saying, hey, this is what I want to do, but what can I do and what can I learn to love to develop the skills, the character, the integrity, and the resources, and maybe some of the relationships and the funding I need to get there? How can I make myself more useful, more helpful to get to where I need to get to, instead of just wanting to take the most direct path? Oh, I want to do a podcast, so I'm just going to start a podcast. Cool. Are you an incredible stand-up comedian who's also a UFC commentator and also on Fear Factor? Oh, you're not? It's probably not going to pop off for you the same way, because people don't quite care yet about what you have to say about whatever it is you want to talk about. You have to find something that you can do. Learn to love doing it before you do what you love, for the vast majority of us. Unless you're coming from old money, unless you're coming from somebody that's just going to put you on, right, different. Those of us that are coming from the mud, those of us that are coming and having to claw our own way up, this is usually the path. Hey, find something else that you can learn to love, kill it, tuck away some money, and then go pursue the things you're passionate about. This is so simple, but most of us, we buy into this notion of, well, just do what you love. Just do what you love. Just do what you love. Yeah. If you ain't got no money, try that for a season. You probably end up homeless, living out of your car in North Hollywood. Seldom does that work out. You gotta love what you do. You gotta love what you do to do what you love. You got to be diligent. You got to be wise. You got to be shrewd. You got to know how to tuck some money away.
Right, maybe the year before I did Chappelle show, it was just like I was saving up to take a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that when it came time.
Dave Chappelle said the year before I did Chappelle show, I was saving up to take a chance. How many of us are saving up to take a chance?
And do Chappelle show, the money was terrible, but I'd saved up. I could take the shot.
Yeah.
When he started doing this, y'all ain't listening, man. When he started doing the Chappelle show, he said the money was terrible, but I had money saved up.
I could come off the road and take a real shot, and it made all the difference in the world.
When you take a chance, it's such a weird feeling. Taking a chance, like doing something, even just moving here. It's so exciting. So exciting when you don't know how it's going to play out.
Got two people operating at arguably some of the best at what they do. Chappelle with stand-up, Joe Rogan with podcasting, and then he's also, very proficient at stand-up. And the unifying thing is they had money squirreled away. They knew that they had to go do things and learn to love things for a season. And then that allowed them the opportunity to take a risk and go after the things they were passionate about. Joe Rogan's case, it was building the biggest podcast in the world. Chappelle did sketch comedy. Chappelle show was huge. He then fell back, even though they offered him, I think, $50 million, fell back and jumped back into his stand-up. Took 5 years off, came back, bigger deals, bigger tours, right? More funny than ever before. So hopefully this is encouraging to you guys. The reason why I'm talking about this is the idea of financial literacy. I talk about it all the time on the channel. You guys know I love the Dave Ramsey baby steps, $1,000 emergency fund, little baby emergency fund, right? Maybe beef it up more if you need more. Getting on a written budget, paying off your debts, smallest to largest, then saving up 3 to 6 months of expenses. So the first 3 baby steps. Guys, that revolutionized everything for me and my wife. We were young, we were married, we came from poverty, and we ended up paying off $45,000 of debt in 18 months. In the middle of that 18 months, I got sued, our accounts got levied. But I tell you what, being on the other side of that is what empowered me to go full-time with music in 2015, because we were debt-free, we lowered our overhead, right? We had the skills and the character to handle money. We worked jobs we didn't necessarily love for a season, and then we had 6 months of expenses, which allowed us to take that leap into being self-employed. And that was hard for the first couple of years, if I'm fully honest with you. Now, on the other side of that, 5-6 years later, it's 2020, end of 2020 is when things really picked up in terms of revenue streams and diversifying incomes. We had a couple good years in between there, but 2020, 2020, 2021, things are really starting to pick up. We're now equipped to handle that money. We have money saved. We can take risks, so on and so forth. And so, guys, hopefully this is encouraging to you. Your money is not your own. Your life is not your own. It's God's ultimately. So honor God with your money, your time, your talent, all these different things. Handle it God's way. And you'll be surprised how a lot of times getting your disciplines in order, by the way, the root word for disciple is discipline. Getting your disciplines in order, getting your budget in order, getting your finances in order, getting your life in order. Jordan Peterson calls it making your bed. Don't criticize the world until you've made your bed, until you've cleaned up your own house, right? Getting these things in order will position you to take risk and potentially go after things that you feel like God's calling you to do. So hopefully this is helpful. Let me know what y'all think.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan